Welcome to The Explainer. You know, if you're curating a wine list or stocking a boutique retail shelf, you know exactly how hard it is to find champagnes that genuinely stand out from those massive, standardized production houses. We're looking for unique profiles, we need verifiable quality, and honestly, we need a really compelling story to tell our clients. So today, we're taking a structured, virtual tasting journey through the boutique portfolio of Champagne Jacques Robin. We're going to break down their distinct cuvées, pulling straight from their technical data and tasting profiles so you can discover exactly where these highly authentic bottles might fit into your own lineup. Let's get into it.
Here is the tasting menu for today's explainer. 1. Introduction to Jacques Robin. 2. Pure varietal expressions. 3. The Prestige blend. 4. Oak age complexity. And finally, 5. Award-winning pedigree.
All right, Section 1. Introduction to Jacques Robin, Independent Spirit.
Now, these two emblems right here tell an absolutely vital story for any buyer. Over on the left is the Vigneron Independent Seal. Champagne Jacques Robin is an incredibly proud, independent producer. This means they aren't just buying bulk grapes to mix into some generic corporate formula, right? They are growing, harvesting, and bottling their own specific vision. And on the right, you see a Decanter World Wine Awards bronze medal. This establishes their credibility right out of the gate. They are artisanal, sure, but they are also globally recognized by some of the most critical palates out there.
And all of this stems from their highly specific location in Bouxières-sur-Arse. Rooting a champagne in its exact terroir is just absolutely crucial for clientele who want to know exactly where their wine is coming from. This specific pocket of the Champagne region provides the real foundation for the distinct flavor profiles we're about to explore.
Okay, let's dive into Section 2. Pure varietal expressions. Terroir unmasked.
First up on our tour is the Topaz Cuvée. Now, this is a 100% Chardonnay champagne. So for buyers who are looking to add a really crisp, elegant Blanc de Blanc style to their portfolio, this is your first stop.
Just listen to these sensory notes. The profile here is defined by exotic white fruit. On the palate, it's described as open, fresh, and persistent, heavily featuring a dominant aroma of citrus white fruits. I mean, you can almost feel that bright, refreshing acidity jumping right off the slide. It is a perfect, lively opener.
But then, they pivot beautifully. This is Ma Bonne Etoile, and it represents a complete shift in the glass. This cuvée is 100% Pinot Noir. So where the Topaz was all about that bright citrus, this bottle brings the distinct depth and structure that is characteristic of pure Pinot Noir. The tasting notes from Ma Bonne Etoile lean entirely into that darker profile. The nose is expressive and packed with red fruit. On the palate, it becomes round, with aromas of fresh red fruit. It's a much richer, more mouth-filling experience that really appeals to a completely different mood or, say, food pairing. Now, what's really fascinating about this is seeing these two pure expressions side by side. The Topaz sits on the lattes, aging on its lees for 28 months, which develops those crisp citrus and white fruit notes. The Ma Bonne Etoile, on the other hand, ages for 26 months, bringing out that really round, red fruit Pinot Noir character. As a buyer, you instantly see two distinctly different experiences for your curation. They are crafted with almost identical patience, but they yield totally different results.
Moving on to Section 3. The Prestige blend, the art of harmony.
Meet the Petit Bourdon, perfectly designated as their prestige blend. Look, when a house labels a bottle as prestige, it's a massive flag for buyers that this is their benchmark for quality and balance. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how they achieve that specific harmony. The Petit Bourdon is a highly precise blend of 70% Pinot Noir and 30% Chardonnay. They're basically taking the robust red fruit structure we literally just saw in the Pinot Noir and lifting it up with a 30% dash of that bright, elegant Chardonnay. The resulting chemistry here is fantastic. Aged for 24 months, the notes become incredibly complex. We're talking an open, milky honey aroma that is distinctly floral. But the absolute key word here on the palate is creamy. The tension between the two grapes creates this long, creamy texture wrapped entirely around white fruit aromas. It's a highly sophisticated mouthfeel, for sure.
Section 4. Oak-aged complexity, the climax.
Enter the Cuvée de Sorbet, or the Secret de Sorbet as it's so elegantly scripted on the label. This champagne is sourced from a very specific named vineyard plot called La Sorbet. Now, single vineyard champagnes are already incredibly attractive to serious collectors, but it's what actually happens in the cellar that makes this one truly special.
That number right there is 25. Specifically, 25% of this cuvée is matured in oak barrels. In Champagne, introducing oak is a pretty bold choice. It requires pristine fruit to stand up to the wood, and it completely transforms the texture and flavor profile of the final wine.
So, the crucial point is how that oak maturation actually manifests in the glass. The tasting notes just explode with rich descriptors here. Buttered, vanilla, hazelnut. The palate is described as complex and frank, really doubling down on those toasted almond, hazelnut, and vanilla aromas. It is a profoundly rich gastronomic champagne that absolutely demands a prominent place at the dinner table.
And finally, Section 5, Award-Winning Pedigree, the verdict.
First off, let's just summarize the technical differentiation we've covered today. This reference guide distills the whole portfolio. You have the Topaz aging for 28 months, the Sorbet and Étoile for 26 months, and the Prestige Bourgogne for 24 months. Each one has a highly deliberate aging strategy tailored perfectly to whether it's an oak-aged specialty, a pure varietal, or a precise blend. It's a cohesive, incredibly well-thought-out lineup.
Now, let's move to and see how this builds into critical validation. This isn't just one critic having a randomly good day. Jacques Robin consistently pulls in heavy-hitting accolades. You're seeing James Suckling scores in the 90s across the board, like a 93 for the Mauves Bon Étoile and the Sorbet, right alongside prestigious stars from France's incredibly strict Le Guide Hachette des Vins.
And the peaks right here at an impressive 94. James Suckling awarded a massive 94 points to both their Petit Bourdon Prestige blend and their Patrimoine des Terroirs cuvée. Look, when you are pouring a wine for a client, being able to confidently drop a 94-point score from a globally recognized critic, that instantly seals the deal.
So we've seen the pure 100% varietals. We've seen the perfectly balanced 70-30 Prestige blend. And we've explored the really rich 25% oak-matured complexity of the Sorbet. Each is wonderfully distinct, each is critically acclaimed, and each serves a totally different purpose in the glass. So my final question to you is this. Look at your current shelves, or maybe look at your current wine menu. Which specific profile, the crisp citrus, the round red fruit, or that rich, buttery oak is currently missing from your lineup? Because as we've seen today, Champagne Jacques Robin clearly has the exact bottle to fill that gap. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and cheers!